I mean, we've been here forever. I mean, it's like, okay, so we got to build ways to, make them secure, even though the device itself isn't secure.
Hi there, welcome back to Moxa Security Talks. My name is Jesse and I'm the host. Today we have invited Thomas Burke to talk about cybersecurity and smart factories. Since we mentioned a lot of PLCs and SCADAs in our previous talks, and they are very essential and critical assets to the whole operation, do you have any recommendations to our audience on how to protect these critical assets from cyber attacks?
Well, again, and thank you, Jesse, because this is the thing. I mean, if you think about what's happened, right, people are now so reliant on their PLCs and their SCADA systems, right, and, doing everything with it. They become so dependent on it. If they're not running, they don't know what to do. So basically, this whole concept of the defense in depth concept that I talked about earlier, deciding who's allowed to access the network, doing whitelisting, file integrity, not doing things like opening yourself up. I've seen classic cases where, the network is running slower because somebody's downloading videos on the industrial network. It's like, well, don't allow that to happen. So it's a mindset issue. We joke about it, but the reality is it's true, and people are using the network differently. So, you got to build a mindset, about that addresses the ransomware attacks, right? Addressing the things that are not necessarily targeted attacks, right? So the victims are not hit, and typically what happens is, people are getting attacked at a variety of different levels. So, we really got to make sure if you really want to, build security into your system, you got to have the right guidelines and you got to follow this. And, there's a lot of different things in my pyramid that I talk about. And, it goes from, basically the upper level management, their commitment, right? Putting together, the right policies and procedures, right? Making sure you're, increasing awareness. I don't care what kind of company it is, but, make sure the end user, make sure the suppliers, make sure the employee, really understands, the different things that can happen and, their important role in making sure that, security is there. You can have physical security. We do a lot of things with, separating the networks out. So, it takes and removes a lot of the risk. And then the whole thing about it, the application, you got 3 different levels of security. You got at the host level, the application level, and then, data security overall, which I talked about, authentication and, who's allowed to access what. So, you got to decide this as you're building your whole system and you're adding all these devices. And the good news is that, people are addressing this. People are thinking about this. And then you guys, and I'm not paid by you guys having products that allows a lot of the legacy devices to be incorporated into the system, that helps out significantly because a lot of these automation facilities, the last thing they want to do is, we can't replace all our legacy devices. I mean, we've been here forever. I mean, it's like, okay, so we got to build ways to, make them secure, even though the device itself isn't secure.
I see.
I hope that helps.
It absolutely helps. I think you mentioned a couple of key points, and that is mindset is super, super important because it's actually something like, no matter how good the technology you have, no matter how great the process is, but when it comes to people or human, mindset is what has actually driven us to do our actions. And if we don't have the correct mindset, it is still pretty dangerous. And even if you have great process, great technology, but if people is the vulnerability here, then mindset will be the key point or the critical point when it comes to the link of human in this whole technology, human and process thing. And you also mentioned that starting from the management commitment all the way down to the data security, although on your pyramid it kind of goes up, but it kind of gives me the feeling that actually cybersecurity is a top-down solution. So we need to have the management support or commitment in order to push it down all the way down to the very fundamentals of the operation floor and to the operators who are operating the machines, right?
Correct. That's so important. So you got to have, management buy-in at the top, and then at the bottom level, you got to have people recognizing this is serious stuff. We got to make sure that everything is secure. It's a commitment from both sides of the equation at all times.
Yeah. Well, it's very glad and happy to know that you're spreading this news, and I hope that everybody who's watching this could get a correct mindset after watching this episode. Now, previously you mentioned a term called TSN. I'm pretty curious, what is the value proposition for the industrial Ethernet organizations adopting the TSN time-sensitive network?
So I'm very excited about TSN, and I've been very excited about for 5 or 6 years. It stands for time-sensitive networking, and originally it was, basically designed for the audiovisual industry, believe it or not. And when I first saw it, it was still in the audiovisual industry and focusing on that. And then people started to think about adding it on the inside of the automobile. So I'm not talking about manufacturing the automobile, actually inside the automobile. And I thought, this is kind of cool. This really could be a technology, and I quickly recognized it is what I call a game-changing technology, and it provides a lot of different very significant business and technical values in comparison to the existing field buses or the industrial networks that are currently deployed. The biggest thing from an end user perspective, it provides the ability to run basically all kinds of different industrial Ethernet protocols on the same physical wire and still have the ability to share the wire and share the bandwidth with the wire. So that's a very important part is, companies are like, well, I got this device and I got that device and this device, and I've got to string multiple cables all over the place. Now they can do one physical wire. So that is a big advantage of the TSN technology. The other thing is I can run TCP/IP on the same physical wire with the industrial Ethernet protocol. So now I'm able, to mix both of the consumer and the industrial in the same time. And, it really provides, significant increases in performance. There's, no jitter anymore that I call about, which gives you the, that basically is the determinism of the network, and really also a lot of physical reliability. So when I'm hooking up a robot that's got multiple networks, I can hook up one wire basically to the robot, and I've basically able to leverage it. So, the other thing is, you still have to have the industrial Ethernet protocol. So TSN isn't the industrial Ethernet protocol. The industrial Ethernet protocols like CC-Link IETSN and the other networks still build on top of TSN, and they build in security at what I call at the network level. So then the device vendors, basically who are developing their devices, they put it on the industrial Ethernet networks, and they actually build the security then into the infrastructure. So, the classic case is, Moxa, you guys build products basically that run on the TSN network, and they run on CC-Link IETSN, and you guys have basically followed the principle of secure by design into your products.
Okay, wow, thank you, Tom. That's actually quite a lot of information, and TSN sounds very promising. I think it kind of represents the future for factory automation, right? Combining all those together and running them through TSN, having only one cable connected rather than a bunch of cables connected to the machines. So thank you very much for sharing all this information and these useful tips. I'm sure our audience must have taken a lot of notes during these few minutes as well. So thank you, Tom, for coming to the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jesse, and I'm really very pleased to be involved in the Moxa Security Talks and the great work you guys are doing to help really evangelize to, the end users and the system integrators, the importance of making sure secure by design is the action item and our call to action.
This is Moxa Security Talks with Thomas Burke from Mitsubishi. Please subscribe and follow us to learn more about the latest cybersecurity trends from experts in the OT industry. See you next time.